Greetings, I am Lies.
And I am Scandal.
And let's say goodbye to Blaine together. To Blaine together.
To Blaine.
So we've just
Blaine.
feel like there's a really inappropriate way to say it. Like we've just,
Off he will fuck.
I was gonna say we've just sort of, castrated his capital letter.
I mean, honestly, he is just gonna be a goodbye-bye, and that's fine with me.
We've
it's
taken away
day 22.
We've
We're not
taken
on day
away
21.
his proper noun.
Yes, he is no longer a proper noun. He is now an improper noun.
We have just, just
Taken away his authority. It's fine. He can
trimmed
suffer.
off his proper noun.
All right, saying goodbye for A-Star. Tell him to fuck right off.
Yep.
Good job.
All right, bye. Wasn't there
Lily-
stuff in the wheelbarrow last night
No.
while he was sitting on it?
Nope.
Okay.
He was just in there, as far as I recall.
I thought there was
We could
something-
always go look,
It's okay.
but I didn't.
I swear there was something in the wheelbarrow, and I'm going to say.
I don't think so. Lily, please! It's not just about the money. I need you.
But since that can't be separated from your interest in the money, and I can't apparently make people stop trespassing on my property, it doesn't matter if you need me. Once this is completely and utterly resolved, if I care at all, I can speak to you again.
Yeah, pretty much. This whole experience has changed me. I really do feel different, see things differently now.
Excellent. You can do that
Over
there.
there. Goodbye.
Yes. Bye.
Yeet! You make me a complete person. I can't function right without you. I just can't.
Blaine, I believe that you need a therapist. And you know why? Because every person is a complete person. And if you can't function on your own, you need help understanding how you can function on your own. I don't complete you because you're already whole. You might be a whole disaster, but you're all there and you just need to access the parts of you. See, you make me so much better. Oh my God, take it to a therapist and go away.
Please, I am not your
You
therapist.
keep saying that, but you know what? You never said this whole time you've been here?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. My friend is
Ah,
right. My friend is right.
I knew
Yes. Well done, friend. And that's because you are not sorry for what you did. You're just sorry it affected you too. Okay, that is actually kind of charming, and I feel that statement.
That is very aware, and I appreciate actually that statement.
In
to
this
be honest.
moment, Lily being that aware and having that clear of a mind about the shit, after she's been pushed around so much, it doesn't necessarily feel genuine with everything they've written so far. On the other hand, I can see her coming up with that after having gone, I just sat on the fact that you were lying to me this whole time for a whole nother reason, and I don't care whether or not you've also had another experience on top of that. That was the root of your experience, and we're done.
Yeah,
So I love
completely.
this line. A friend of mine, actual friend, once told me that no other person will ever make you whole. You have to do that yourself, Blaine. See, I knew she would say it.
Ha!
Ha! Now I
Ha!
might too. Yay!
Yay!
Both of
Kick
us
his
were
ass.
right.
Do it. Oh,
Is she gonna give it back?
oh, yep.
Yes.
Good.
Oh, 2013.
Yeah. Remember when we talked about that before when that popped up? Because it says like
yep.
L and B or something like that
Whatever
on the
it
inside
is,
as
yeah.
well.
And she just,
Here.
yep, just pulls off.
Your ring?
Yeah, well, you know what? It just makes me think of you. So you can sell it and start over somewhere. If in fact you actually did lose your job or quit your job or whatever it is, find out who you are without me.
Do it.
Ah.
Uh,
I don't even know if you were telling the truth about that. And it doesn't matter. Because just because you lied about one thing doesn't mean you did lie about everything. You could have been telling the truth about everything else. You could have ruined your whole freaking life. And then Larry used that as access to also, strong arm you into this other thing. And you know what? It doesn't matter. Go take that ring, which has very little resale market value because rings are so freaking custom. They immediately depreciate the moment you buy them unless they're made by a designer that's in demand. And since it was so freaking expensive, sell it for what it's worth and start over.
but I can be a better man. I'll prove it to you.
I don't need a better man. I need a garden.
Whoa! You don't
Oh,
need to
sorry.
prove it to you.
I missed it.
Yeah, it says it. You don't need to prove it to me. You need to prove it to yourself.
Yes. Okay. You don't need to prove it to me. You need to prove it yourself. Now go on. Your taxis. Here.
Yes.
Right there.
Right over there.
Over by my bee stand that I haven't checked on in days.
Days!
Shit. Has anyone bought anything?
Ooh, is it rotten?
Honey doesn't go bad like that.
No,
Honey
well,
does
but in the
fine.
sunshine,
Mhm.
like in glass jars.
So in a warm day in the sunshine, it's just going to melt and stay liquid in the jar. It's not going to hurt it.
Okay, I don't know
Like,
though.
it will
'cause
change the quality of the honey a little bit due to its exposure to light, but it's not going to cause it to crystallize or
temperature?
anything like that. The temperature is also not going to cause it to crystallize. Now, it can sometimes cause it to then crystallize later when you store it in a cooler location because it has changed the structure of the honey by being in the sun and being so hot so often.
Right.
In the same way that many chemicals have, storage temperature ranges. And you'll learn this sometimes working in manufacturing, especially food manufacturing, that there's a range of storage temperature you're supposed to, store things in.
Oh, yeah.
But even with like computer hardware manufacturing, which is one of the other things I've worked in, you get this experience of going, circuit boards are supposed to be, tolerant to this range of temperatures and not outside of that.
Yeah.
But it's a reasonable and broad range, whereas a lot of food chemicals or food ingredients have much smaller ranges, including milk, which is a very small range.
A very tiny range.
As well as, it can go pretty darn cold. Like, it's like a 30-degree range in cold.
Right.
But it has to be cold.
Except for the fact that that's not true. They've had milk in bags in other countries for years that have actually just stayed warm. That's actually, I think, of pasteurized
What I was
milk?
going to say is of milk that's processed a certain way. Once it is the milk product, it will have a range based on the tests that the manufacturer has done on it.
Right.
And what they expect for it.
Right.
So yeah, not all milk needs to be kept cold, and they do have shelf-stable, like, cartoned milk now.
Oh, yeah.
I would say, but there is this experience of you'll still find, in reference to shelf-stable products, there's a range of temperatures they are ideal at.
Right.
All right.
No, that's fair.
Your taxi's here. Bye!
Bye! I'll prove it to you, Lily!
Over there, without me.
Goodbye!
Bye, Blaine.
Leave. Yeet.
Did you even go and get your things?
Bleedamus.
Did you even have things to get? I still don't know what you were eating while you were here.
Aww.
I'm so unhappy.
Poor thing. Yep,
Call
I figured
Regina.
we're gonna have to reconnect with Regina.
Are we gonna apologize?
Oh god, this is gonna be a
or-
lot going on today.
I feel like this is gonna be uncomfortable.
I do too.
I hope it's good. I want this to be a really positive experience.
And now we have the dog.
When
did we get
dog?
the dog?
Say, when did dog get here and why?
Do we just keep the dog now? I'm still annoyed by this. Do you know that dog still belongs to Karen and her dad and Rachel and mostly Karen? Or is Karen here?
And it, for reasons, just lives over here now?
Ah!
Why is dog here?
Hey! Oh, that's you.
Hey, lady.
Hey, girlie.
Listen, he's gone. Can we talk?
We probably should. Yeah.
I appreciate that. I shouldn't have lied to you. I shouldn't have hidden him from you. I should have listened to you. And also, I wish you'd have been really nicer about the whole thing, because I was feeling really stupid.
I was also going to say, that's a lot of shoulds. There's also... So, while I agree partially with Regina's critique, I also agree partially with Lily being resistant, and also I feel like Regina potentially should have been more open, but as far as we've seen, Regina and Lily have never really talked about Lily's background at all. Like the level of abuse, the level of manipulation, what her relationship with Blaine was really like. Like, they really don't have any information, so this feels really kind of forced and also kind of silly, because you're like, look, I can understand you being concerned about your friend, but we've literally never seen you guys really connect as friends, and the communication has not been there.
Again, they don't know each other very well. And Regina has some very strong opinions about men that seem to come out regardless of how well she knows Lily. More like, not I am specifically protective of Lily, but I am specifically defensive against men.
Yeah.
And I am totally willing to apply this to Lily right away, even when I have just met her, bonds of sisterhood and all that.
Yeah, no kidding.
I say, but this is Lily's opinion of these things, and I hope Regina is also. I've been so stressed out, under so much pressure from this deadline. Blaine felt comfortable and familiar. This is so aware.
Yeah, this is wildly aware.
I slipped right back into my old habits, except for it's also missing some of, he pushed his way into my life. I told him no at first, which isn't an excuse, and then he just bowled me over and I let him. Like, there should be a level of her also admitting to being overpowered by him, and that she did try to assert herself, but couldn't. Without it being an excuse, just being, I'm gonna share what happened.
Right.
Because when you fail to hold your boundaries and someone does take advantage of you, you aren't necessarily making an excuse when you own to that.
Mm-mm.
And some people can say, oh, that's just an excuse, you should have been more whatever. But the thing is you're literally just describing what happened. I hate the whole excuse versus reason.
Oh,
They're the
God.
same thing.
They're the same goddamn thing. It just depends on context and who the hell is listening, and it mostly depends on who the fuck is listening.
And excuse basically means I don't like your reason.
Yes.
And that's it. Because your reason can be, I didn't tell him no. Well, that's an excuse you could have. And going in that moment, you may not have, could have, because you may not have had the emotional resources to, you may not have been aware that it was an option, you may have been afraid of doing so, etc., etc. So for you, you couldn't.
That is why I was saying I don't like the should have language, because that's very specific and that's very extreme.
And so I like that she's like acknowledging, going, Blaine felt very comfortable and familiar. The same way that we talked about that wine night was very much her trying to, oh yeah, and I'll perform the good friendly behaviors. And of course we can just be friends. One of the things I've had used against me weirdly is the we should still be friends.
Yes.
After a relationship. And then basically the activity is used as a, I can try and get you into spaces that feel like very comfortable relationship spaces, but go, oh, we're just being friends. This is how we're being friends, until I can essentially wheedle my way back in and go, doesn't this feel nice? Isn't this really comfortable? Isn't this like what we used to have kind of thing?
Yeah.
And it frustrates me. And that doesn't mean that's everyone's experience, but that's what I have had. Anyway, so I wish you would include a little bit more, but this is good and very aware. I like this.
Yes. I get it. I'm sorry I snapped at you, babe.
Thanks for that.
I was just so upset knowing his history, except we don't
Do you know his history?
have any knowledge.
I was gonna say, do you know his history?
Oh
like,
my
not
God.
our history together. Not your history, Lily.
But
his
history?
What does she know about his history?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I'm actually really kind of confused.
You do need to. You should
He
apologize.
does.
Actually, if you wanted Blaine to apologize, it is also appropriate for her to apologize. You can say, I also need to apologize, but you don't need to, like you don't need to dismiss her apology.
Yes.
Like, you can say, I feel like you don't need to apologize, but like, dismiss
I
it completely.
appreciate that.
Like,
Yeah.
or just going, thank you, but I feel like it's not really your fault.
Mm-hmm.
You can accept the apology and also say, I don't feel like this is your fault.
Yeah.
You don't need to apologize. I get it too. Still friends?
Always. Want to do a little work on the watermill?
I thought it was a wheelhouse.
Ah.
Yes, please. Hang on. Mr. Jones hasn't called me back in like 2 whole days. I mean, a day and a half. I mean, a whole entire day now, which seemed really, really damn long with Blaine here. So, do I know if that's mine yet?
At all? Okay. I'll be over soon. I'll bring Grandpa, too. He has something for you.
He's gonna tell me about the wheelhouse? I mean, the watermill? I mean, yeah, that one. Click.
Good.
Guess I'll go over to the watermill. Dog, when did you get here? I mean, Roxy, dog, come on, girl. I apparently think you're my dog now, and I'm not at all surprised about you being here, about you not having a collar in your other illustration. Where'd your collar?
I think the collar actually hasn't been there for a while.
Damn it, why did I just notice that?
I don't know, but it's weird.
I was just thinking about it in reference to going, about you, not being my dog, but I'll treat you my dog. And then I was going, and, not being licensed and running amok, uncared for. And then I was like, but you do have a collar, but you don't have a collar.
But
do you have a license? Are you registered? Are you currently up to date on your shots and things? Are you cared for in the way that an animal who is allowed outside unsupervised should be to protect them?
Or at least based off the information and the knowledge that we have now, because we might not exactly have all that information accurate or correct.
It's true. As someone who's been a dog owner several times in my life, what I understand from vets is that a dog that is going to be let outdoors in many different environments, while they shouldn't ever be allowed to roam free-ranging dogs like free-ranging cats are way less safe.
Oh, yeah.
Way less safe. That there are different shots they need depending on where they're going, what they're doing. At one point, I was the owner to a very, very small dog. And that very, very small dog, when she got one of her first vaccines for a disease that ticks carry that dogs can get. And I don't know if it was Lyme disease or not.
Yeah.
But it's something that dogs can specifically get. Then they said, you know what? As long as she doesn't go up into the mountains, into the hills, the woods and things, she doesn't need this vaccine. So since it's dangerous for her, we just won't give it to her anymore as long as you don't do that. And we're like, she's a tiny ass dog. She's like 4.5 pounds. We don't need to take her up into the mountains anyway. Done,
Right.
And so that was a family decision. And I'm like going, yeah. And so that's one of those things, is depending on what your dog does, depends on their medical vaccine needs kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm talking about caring for the dog properly, of going, one, also, is she fixed so that she would be,
Safe?
protected against, possible puppies and or, assault from, roaming things and or dogs when she's, potentially in season,
No kidding.
etc. Because sometimes when dogs don't know each other and they haven't developed any kind of like relationship, just like when strangers don't know each other, but there's really strong instinctive drives, it can be very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it can be really not okay.
Come on, girl, who's not my dog, but I just expect to be on my property every day.
Borf! I am dog!
Yes, you are a wonderful creature.
I am dog.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh, I fed them and now there's
Now they've
more.
multiplied.
Or there's just more because none of them look like babies.
Yeah.
What's with the dark one?
I don't know. Is that supposed to be Regina?
Oh god, if there's supposed to be a raccoon representing everybody here, I'm going to be super annoyed. But also, no, because there'd have to be one for Grandpa too.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I think it's just a chocolate raccoon or cocoa raccoon.
Cocoon?
My first...
A cocoon!
A cocoon.
Ha.
Oh. It's like setting out a squirrel feeder that's actually a bird feeder and you get more squirrels. So many little buddies! Ha! Yeah, she would love this, which is fine. And honestly, if they're down here and not at the house, it's not necessarily a problem.
I feel like this is going to become
But I think Regina's going to be sad.
I think this is going to become
the raccoons!
a huge problem.
Do you think they can illustrate like 40 raccoons for us? I love that,
Oh my god!
she used the term, oh my god, I've seen that term only a few times and that's hilarious. I love that, dog is not reacting to them at all other than, this means more play!
Yay!
They are also weird dogs! I love weird dogs! They're still
Yay!
good dogs! Yay! You guys are the luckiest of dogs. You're dogs with hands. Do you know how useful hands are? Bork!
Hands! I love hands.
You know what you could do with those hands? Pet me!
Yay! Clean me.
That too.
Stroke me.
Ha!
Yay!
Little trash pandas! Soup's on. If you haven't heard the term trash pandas, I have.
Now you have.
Now you have.
Let's just
Welcome
put it that way.
aboard. And they're all gonna
And
do
the dog's
weird
gonna eat it too?
spoon thing. Is Regina gonna freak out?
Hi.
Hi.
What's
Really?
What's
No one
with all
knows
the
what raccoons
skunks?
are? Really?
Apparently.
Why am I the only person who knows what a raccoon looks like?
Raccoons are really obvious, I gotta tell you. So everybody does not seem to explain accurately enough just how distinct raccoons are, because I gotta say, so mostly what I've ever seen are raccoons on film or raccoons in pictures. I've never actually seen a raccoon really in real life.
I have.
Until at one point, finally, when I was driving around with my friend, I finally saw a raccoon and I freaked the absolute shit out.
Look, that's a raccoon! And my friend went, what?
And I went, ah! Because they walk so weird, because they are literally walking on like hands. So it's like a strange hobble, like bizarre.
They kind of trundle along.
Yeah.
They do have this sort of swaying wobble to their hips.
Uh-huh.
And they have a really large, like higher back end. Their
Rump,
head is
butt.
way down below their rump.
Yeah.
So like you get this experience of a really tall, round thing, but the head's way down in the front.
Uh-huh.
And so it's this big sort of trundling or lumbering creature that's maybe the size of like, 2 or 3 cats rolled together.
Yeah, it's really weird.
And then scooting, they don't look like cats. They don't, and skunks are very streamlined.
Oh, yeah.
They're very flat. Like skunks are part of the weasel family. When they walk along with their tails down, they are flat all the way across.
They
Like,
also
they can walk straight under like, a board and not even bat an eye.
They also literally are some of the most chill critters I have ever seen. Raccoons are way too much like, I'm gonna look around and check shit out. Skunks are just like, I'm doing my thing, nobody will fuck with me, screw this all.
Bye! Yeah, skunks are very chill that way. Anyway, so I don't know what they're going for here with everyone not being able to identify raccoons, but I'm not getting the joke.
Neither am I. It's not really funny to me, but that's
It's like,
okay.
huh. All right, is he going to complain about it?
Miss Roberts, per your request, when last we spoke, I obtained a land record for you.
Yes! Thank
Peruse
God!
it at your leisure. I do hope it gives you some peace of mind.
Shouldn't that have been included with, like, the will and
Yes.
the testament and our inheritance
Yes.
and the description, like, the description of the property? Shouldn't have that been handed over to me
Yes.
immediately?
Yes, especially if you're planning on fixing anything, you must have it. Because imagine you broke the like the legality of like the area. Like you really would get in so much trouble for getting on somebody else's property, trespassing and everything else. Like
Or
it would be
also
so
just
bad.
Imagine you've revamped somebody else's property, wasted your time, money, and energy, and that's not yours.
Yeah, and they're like, well,
Or-
thanks, but
If you don't know the legal boundary of the property, and it turns out that that area of bush that Luke drove his truck through to get to the hangar to get all the scrap from it
oh god.
is also an area of your property, and you would need to revamp it, even though it has no theme that has fallen into disrepair.
Imagine it wasn't, and then he just went over somebody else's property and destroyed it.
Yep. So, thank you, Mr. Jones.
Ha-ha! As for me, I've brought my big muscles for more work on the mill.
And your skill with wood, which I greatly appreciate. So does my husband.
Oh. So does my husband, exactly.
The muscles, I can take or leave. I'm just glad you're here.
Aw. Me too, lady. Me too.
Can I hug you now?
Please.
You know, because, like, the whole we've made up and it's okay, and hugs release a lot of tension, and they're really good for bonding. And also, I'm a little bit touch-starved lately, because I've been in a relationship that hasn't been very connected for, like, 5 years, and then been really alone out here. And while it's not your job to accommodate any of that, hugs? Could maybe hug?
Could have hug, perhaps. So in the next one, then, I guess we'll replace the roof. So
Yeah.
thank you very much, guys, then, for joining us. I'm surprised. Oh, God, we're actually going to study the land record? Fuck that. Like,
Wow.
oh, my God, I really want to know what the hell is going on.
About time.
It is about time. So thank you very much for joining us. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And please also feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi or Patreon. We've got some links in the description down below. Please also feel free then to share our videos with anybody that you think might have a good time with us.
Yes.
And other than that, I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you. Bye!